Good day to you all, it's Mike here on my Nintendo64, and today we're going to have a closer look at the Nintendo64 controller for the Nintendo64 and Nintendo Switch Online. Here it is in all its beauty. I'm going to take it out of the box and then give you a closer look, because if I bring it up too closely to the camera, you'll be able to see the camera, you know, sort of reflection, so that's no good. So what I'm going to do is just take it out of the box. Now, take off the plastic there, have it inside the actual box here, and then just take that out, and then inside the bottom, I'll have a look at the actual controller in a moment. And the bottom we have the manual, and we have a USB-C cable in there, okay? But obviously we're not too fussed about that, are we? We are all about the Nintendo 64 controller for the Nintendo Switch Online service. It works with the Nintendo Switch, it works with a number of games as well, which I will highlight in a moment. But here you can see it in all its glory. It doesn't have a cable in it, you just connect the cable up, the USB-C in there to the Switch or to any USB outlet to charge it. Basically, you don't need it for anything else, except for maybe synchronising it if you have trouble with the button synchronising. But I found it was relatively easy. As soon as I got it ready, just went hit the button, and it almost instantly, funnily enough. I've had more trouble trying to link up Joy-Cons and the Pro Controller than I did with this bad boy. So, let's have a look at that. Okay, so this is the new one. This is the one that's on the My Nintendo, or it's currently out of stock, I believe. And they won't have it in stock again until 2022. Bad Nintendo. And this is the original, and it is very, very, very much a 1-to-1 ratio replica. The only difference is in the back, or obviously, you know, we've got a couple of extra buttons at the top, I'll get to that in a moment, but in the back, on the original, it's actually open there, and the new one, this one, the wireless, is actually full. That is moulded. That's not a piece you can take out or anything, but fortunately enough, it does have rumble. So I'm just going to put this one away for the moment. Okay, now I've got myself wrapped up in the cables. That's clever. Okay. So here we have on the top, we have the capture button, so that will capture any screenshots and video. We have the home button here, and then we have a very little one here for the ZR. Now, ZR you need when you're using the Nintendo Switch Online service. You actually press ZR so you can reach the menu, so you can, you know, create save points, load save points, go back to the main menu of games and stuff like that. That's the main reason that button is there, but you can use it with other games as well that use ZR. Then we have the shoulder buttons here. We have L, we have R. We're going to come around to the front now. We have A and B. We have the start button, and then we have the 8-point directional joystick there. We've got the D-pad over to this side to the left, and then we have the C buttons. The C buttons are camera buttons. Okay, that's where the actual C came from, because a lot of the older games like Super Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, these buttons were actually used to move the camera around. And then on the very, very back, we have the trigger button, which is very, very important for shooting. Now, this doesn't have gyroscopic controls. It does have rumble. And I did find that the rumble is a bit more potent in this than it is on the actual Pro Controller as well. So, nice one. Now, as regards to games that you can play with it, you can play pretty much all the games on the Nintendo 64 and Nintendo Switch Online service. So, because that's the whole reason we got this controller in the first place, so you'll be able to play all those games like Super Mario 64, Dr. Mario 64, Mario Tennis, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Yoshi's Story, all of them, you know, and all that's going to be coming out as well. They can all be played on this perfectly. Now, when I was playing with it, with this controller, some people said that they noticed some lag or latency input in the input controls. I didn't have much of a problem, so I don't know whether that might be more when they're playing online or something. I only played it locally, but, you know, trying to pull off the triple jump in Super Mario 64, for example, I found it, you know, almost instantly. The moment I hit the button on the controller, it came up, you know, did a triple jump straight away in the game. Now, couple of things with this. It does work with quite a number of games, as long as they don't require a X or a Y button. Okay, so a couple of games that I did want to try out with this that I thought, you know, might work really, really well with it, and it doesn't so much. Because obviously, you know, like Banjo-Kazooie and stuff like that, you know, these 3D platformers, I thought, hey, this might be pretty cool with, for example, Ukulele, which is on the Nintendo Switch. And even though I know Banjo-Kazooie is going to be coming through the Nintendo Switch Online service eventually, I thought, hey, maybe I'll give this a go with the Ukulele. No, that does have commands to the X and to the Y button, and because you have no input, you can't change the input or button mapping on the controller on the Nintendo Switch either. You can button map for the Joy-Cons. I believe you can button map as well for the Pro Controller. You just can't button map for this currently. But you know, we got the A, we got the B, and if they did have some button mapping eventually, it would have been pretty cool, because then you'd be able to use the C buttons, for example. You could dedicate one to being the X button, the other one to be Y. The only problem that you'd have then is you wouldn't have a right joystick. Now, a lot of games that don't use it, it wouldn't be a problem, but I thought maybe something simple like snipper clips, for example, would be, you know, easy enough to operate with this. And it would be, but same again, because it hasn't got a dedicated X or a Y button on it, you can't, you know, reform, you can't swap between characters. Now, if you were playing, you know, 2-player or whatever, well, then you wouldn't need to swap anyway. You'd each have their own character. But you wouldn't be able to reform instantly either, so, you know, you'd have to depend on the other character cutting you out completely so that you would completely respawn. So, if button mapping does come available on the Nintendo Switch system in an update or something, that would be pretty handy so that people can use this controller with other games that is not just reduced to a certain select few that use very, very few buttons. But games that do work with it, for example, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, Super Mario 3D All-Stars for the Nintendo Switch has received an update that allows players to be able to use the Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo 64 controller with Super Mario 64 in the game, which makes it, you know, perfect, because, you know, you got the button controls and, you know, you got A and a B. Absolutely fantastic for that. I did try it around with the game, the GameCube game, Super Mario Sunshine. Sorry, my brain's going now. But I did try it around with Super Mario Sunshine, and same again, you know, you've got most controls, but you're missing the X button at the top so that you can, you know, refill and stuff like that. Though a little bit of button mapping, same again, they'd be able to get around it and you'll be able to play it on this controller. But not to worry. Other games that you can play this with, for example, Mario Party Superstars, which has recently came out, not a problem, because it only uses the A and the B buttons anyway, and the joystick, you know, it doesn't rely on any of the other buttons for main actual gameplay, and then you've got the L and the R buttons as well, so that's absolutely fine. You can play Mario Party Superstars with the Nintendo 64 wireless controller. You can also play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as well, because that only uses A, B and the R buttons, and I believe the Z button as well on the back. You can use for some things, but, you know, like your items, boost, drift, you don't need anything else with it, really. You can also play the Turok game. So Turok and Turok 2 Seeds of Evil, very, very easy to, you know, map it to this controller. It, you know, it was actually designed around this controller in the beginning, you know, for the Nintendo 64. So, you know, you can use the C buttons for the camera. Okay, so you can move the direction that you're looking in. You can use the actual joystick to actually move the character around. You can map the buttons how to fit, so you can use ZR, for example. You can change the button mapping in-game, so you can change that to be crouch, for example. You can use that to swap through the weapons. You got the Z at the back that you can use for the trigger. And, you know, you get your A and your B buttons as well. So, you know, you can do that with those games, not a problem. Turok, Turok 2 Seeds of Evil, Mario Party Superstars, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I'm trying to say Mario Kart and Super Mario 3D All Stars at the same time. Obviously, that as well. You can use it for Super Mario 64. The Nintendo Switch Online as well. The Nintendo 64 and Nintendo Switch Online as well. You can use it for. And if there are a number of other games that you can use it for, then if anybody would like to let me know in the comments, please do. Because I'd really like to put an article together on the website where we can list a number of so that we can list a number of games. Please forgive me. So that we can list a number of games that you can use that are compatible with the Nintendo 64 controller. Now, I love the design of the Nintendo Switch controller. I'm just rambling now. Sorry. I love the design of the Nintendo 64 controller. I wonder if you can guess why. It's always had, you know, such a strong meaning for me. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like the look of it or the feel, you know. I mean, how are you supposed to hold it? It's so just weird. But, you know, I just love it. I just love the feel of this. And, you know, to be able to play the Nintendo 64 games on the Nintendo Switch with a Nintendo 64 controller, I mean, I am in heaven right now. I am literally in heaven right now, and it's all because I can now use something like this on the Nintendo Switch. And I know it sounds really, really sad to some people, but to me, I'm just really excited. And I know some people, like I said, I mean, for me, it's nostalgia. It's all about nostalgia. And obviously, you know, my Nintendo 64 would not be my Nintendo 64 if it was not for this bad boy. So, thank you very much for watching this video and for putting up with me. I'm sorry that I'm not on top form today and I'm stuttering a lot and, you know, I'm just so emotional right now. That seems like a strong word to use for a video like this, but I really am, you know, with the Nintendo 64 controller for the Nintendo Switch. So much, you know, just Nintendo, just got it on the brain right now. So I'm just going to try and dial it back now. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video and like to see more of our content, then please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Nintendo64. You can also stay doing it again. You can also stay up to date with all our latest news, reviews, personal views, giveaways, and so much more at www.Nintendo64.com. You can also like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and we're also on Tumblr as well. And I'm going to go get myself a glass of water now. But thank you for watching, and until next time, keep on gaming.